I'm called Tom Bluewolf. I'm considered an deep ecology artist by my tribe, the Anikusa, because we work in a devoted way with the environment, from the mycelium to the roots to the trees to the plants to the water to the earth to the sky to the universe. It's all connected. We say we are all related. At this particular time, I'm located in the Cahutta Wilderness area of the Blue Ridge Mountains, which is located on the map in North Georgia. In the spirit, it's a little piece of heaven. And one thing that has become seemingly of interest is a question that has arisen as to why we sit in a circle when we do our medicine council. And there's a variety of reasons. In no particular order of significance, I'll say that we sit in a circle because the universe works in circles and spirals. The earth is more or less round. It rotates in a circular manner. It spirals around the sun as it trails the sun through the universe. What we can see, all the other planets seem to be spheres as well. Trees are round. Stones are more or less eventually round. When we sit in a circle, we can see each other's face. We don't look at the back of anybody's head. We don't have to look over somebody to see what it is we're trying to look at. Everybody can face each other, and we all know that energy is being emitted to us frontal. It's good to be able to see the face of those that you're speaking with, and for them to be able to see your face and your reaction and responses to what's being said. And so when we do that, of course, we tend to light tobacco. Tobacco is a sacred herb that pronounces the integrity of the conversation. Because when we light the tobacco, it creates smoke. And even though the humans have kind of forgotten how to read the smoke, all the other life forms can read the smoke. The trees read it, the animals, the birds, all the animals can still read the smoke. So when you speak these words and these words go up in the smoke, everybody knows what we've just said. They understand. That's why it's so critical that when we do these circles in this way, that we speak from a place where what we say is true, it's necessary, and it's kind. Most importantly, that it's kind, because in our philosophy, especially in a circle, it's much more important and significant to be kind than it is to be right. The notion of being right changes with the times and with the culture, but being kind is eternal. And our elders tell us that if you're in fact always taking the opportunity to be kind, then in fact you're right all the time. That's our response to anyone's question of why we sit in a circle in ceremonies. We did a series of events at the Fernbank Planetarium in Atlanta, Georgia. And the planetariums use a camera to indicate the notion of the universe back 10,000 years. So we had them turn the camera back and watch the movement of the heavens as seen from Earth over a 10,000 year period. Of course, we went through 10,000 years of astronomy in an hour and a half. So it was moving rather rapidly. We called it Voices of the Ancestors. So we had Native American, indigenous people from several cultures in the audience. As the notion of the camera proceeded through the time lapse of 10,000 years, We had children in the aisles burning various kinds of herbs and incense that would have been the incense 10,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, and so forth. We had elders stand up and tell stories that would have been told in those times, because those stories are still being told amongst us, because the oral tradition amongst indigenous people is ancient. They always say the last person to tell the story is the only one that keeps the truth alive. So we continue to tell these ancient stories that are thousands of years old. And we proceeded to do that through this hour and a half period, until at the end of the event, we were actually positioned where the sky was when people left the building and went outside and looked up. They saw the same thing they were looking at in the planetarium. So it was a beautiful event, and very, very transformational. And we got incredible feedback from everyone who was moved. They got a sense of what it's like to be on the earth more than 50 years or 80 years or 100 years, but thousands of years. So it linked us with our ancestors, and it linked us with our children yet to come. So we could see that, in fact, the transformation inside of most people was the realization that we are the ancestors of the future. We could picture ourselves in 10,000 years, what we have done. And then it also gave us in our hearts the sense of how significant it is that our ancestors avoided the incredible genocide that's been on this planet for so long. Because as we sit here and talk to each other, we know that somehow our lineage avoided that. Some, they zigged, they zagged, they bobbed, they weaved, they did whatever they had to do. And here we sit talking to each other because of the strength and power of our own bloodline. And that's why our people are so anxious and excited and honored to be able to respect our ancestors in that way. And because the hope is that one day when we're at rest and peace in the West of the universe, that we can look at the world and see that our children's children's children are honoring us in that way too, so that they can continue to have one hand in the past and one hand in the future and realize we're all just a link in a beautiful chain. And that we call it Voices of the Ancestors. I'm actually passionate about this exploration and search for what we call the truth. Because the story is that once upon a time, we honored the truth. The truth sat on a throne. No one disputed it. Everyone respected it. But then along the way, something happened and the truth started becoming twisted. People started putting spins on it and misrepresenting the truth. And so the truth became depressed. The truth became despondent. The truth became filled with despair, and eventually left town and moved deep into the forest, so that if anyone wanted to know the truth, they had to go deep into the forest to find the truth. And years passed as the truth became sort of a hermit deep in the forest. And then one day when Truth was out in front of his little hut, he looked up and he saw the most beautiful sight that he had ever seen coming down the path. Immediately fell in love. It was the most beautiful entity he had ever seen. But this entity didn't want to have anything to do with this ragtag hermit living in the forest. But the truth was persistent, and it kept on courting beauty in such a way. Beauty finally acquiesced and saw the sincerity in the heart of truth. And so they got married and started traveling everywhere together. So it solved an incredible social dilemma. Now we no longer have to look for the truth. All we have to do is look for beauty. And everywhere we find beauty, there's the truth. Yeah, thank you for the honor of being able here to sit and talk with you like this. What a treat. We should do this more often. Thank you.